We're here.
We're here.
We are here. We're broadcasting live from Atlanta, Georgia. And hey, and I am joined by my wife Ann.
Hi, everybody.
And stepson Connor.
Dab.
They've both been on Bring on the Sabbath before. It's good to have them here.
But now we have home field advantage.
Yeah,
literally.
Because we are home. We are in our home. So that's what you call home field advantage.
We are literally in our basement.
So welcome to the first ever broadcast from the new Atlanta studio. We hope it's coming in really well. If not, just pretend that it is.
Yeah, I think I see it on Facebook right now. So hey, thank y'all for joining us on Facebook. And I'm sure it's on YouTube. So Ann's going to be monitoring the comments on CGI.churchonline.org. I'm going to look at these comments best I can.
I'll just search it
on Facebook.
I'll just search it on my laptop.
So you're not gonna monitor any comments live.
Yeah.
You're just gonna make your own comments.
Yeah, I'm basically just gonna send a load of comments.
Okay.
Random comments that that's probably random.
Yeah. So we see.
Hi.
Yeah.
Bye.
We are webcasting. This is in our basement, which is like our bunker, which is 400 feet below Atlanta.
No, it's not.
Okay,
Again,
maybe 20 feet. 20 feet?
No, it's 12 feet.
12 feet. Okay.
I measured.
Okay.
All right, we're 12 feet below Atlanta broadcasting tonight.
And we're still trying to figure out exactly how this is going to go. So we actually have something we need everyone's help with. As you can see, we have Connor.
Hi.
And Connor did such a good job when he guest spoke at Feast of Tabernacles.
Which one? Those two?
Yeah, so you did 2. And everyone thought you did a great job. And you had a lot of fun. So he said that he would love it if he could have a permanent segment or a reoccurring segment here on Bring on the Sabbath. But we need you guys' help. First of all, what should it be called?
Yeah, that's the first thing. I have not come up with anything.
So whether it's Kids Corner, Connor's Corner, Connor's Commentary.
Okay, no.
So if you could please send us any thoughts that you have on that. And then what should he talk about? We'd love to get some ideas on topics that he should discuss. Or if you guys would like to, please send in questions that you would like to get an answer to from an 8-year-old's perspective. So in general, so Connor, I just said it, but how old are you?
8.
You can look that way. And what grade are you in?
I am in 2nd grade.
Okay, and what are some of your favorite things? What do you love to do after school? How about that?
I like to play video games. I like to read. I like to watch Minecraft videos.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be an inventor.
So that's a little bit about Connor, and he would love to talk to you about some things, not just Minecraft, like actual, like biblical things. But that's where he needs a little help, because if you asked him Minecraft questions or told him that that's what his segment is about, he would need no help from anyone else.
Yeah. I've got some ideas for my own.
But other than that, because we're based here in Atlanta, you're going to get to see a lot of new guests that maybe you haven't seen on Bring on the Sabbath before.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of the Atlanta folk. And again, I attend and pastoring the CGI church here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're going to have one of the leaders from that church is going to be here a little bit later, Paul McIntyre, who actually helped us with the set. So we're excited about having him on this evening. But Ann attends regularly at the Independent Church in Atlanta.
So we have 2 whole pools of people that we can just regularly draw from. And of course, you'll see some recurring guests that you've seen before. We plan on having people come and stay with us and join us for Bring on the Sabbath. It's too bad we couldn't do this any earlier because, let's see, we had 13 people at our house 2 weekends ago and 12 people at our house last weekend.
Yeah.
So...
And all of them would have been great guests for Bring on the Sabbath.
And about 95% of all of them were kids.
Yes.
Don't ask me what I did that weekend.
So we plan to continue to have guests here, and now we can actually just ask them to make the very, very short commute to the Bring on the South studio and join us on here.
Mm-hmm. All right, wonderful. So out there, let us, if you have comments. I see a lot of people are watching. Somebody says, Jeff Steele says, Connor's Corner discussed the kingdom of God from a child's perspective.
Sounds
Talk
good.
about the kingdom of God. Yeah, that's very, very good. Child point of view of holidays. Different things that they're suggesting on here. Any comments over there?
Yeah, I've got one over here. It said that he could discuss some of the great books out there for kids, such as we've got the one, the Time for Tabernacle.
Yeah, that was a good one. There's also the Action Bible.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
that would be
search that
a
up.
really good thing to bring on.
Everyone who's actually interested, search it up on Amazon. It's literally called the Action Bible.
So we could even show it, but what makes the Action Bible cool?
Basically, it's like a comic book, but huge, and it's basically the Bible.
So it tells Bible stories, much more involved than like a Precious Moments kids Bible. But when kids aren't quite ready to move up to like a teenage devotional Bible that have no pictures. So it was actually illustrated by someone who worked for the Marvel comic studios.
I was noticing that.
Yes. So it really shows a lot of biblical heroes, like superheroes, not like actually in capes, but the way that it personifies them and illustrates them and has all the thought and speech bubbles. So
Goliath looked like Goliath in Daniel and the Goliath.
Mhm.
Daniel and Goliath. He looked very similar to some Marvel things.
So it tells stories in a way
Goliath
that's,
looked like Thor or something,
yes.
right?
No, not at all. No.
But it just makes it really fun for them to read. And I know once you asked me a question, I think it was about Daniel, and we started reading, and we ended up just sitting and reading it for like 2 hours because he got so interested.
I remember it was 5 hours. We were in our basement
Yes.
with my ferret in my lap.
Just reading out of the Bible because you liked it that much. So there you go. So from if you have any kids around that age, you've got a shining recommendation for that.
Yeah, and if you think of anything, you can send it to bots@cgi.org. That's my email, and we will get that suggestion, and we can look through the suggestions that you have tonight. If you think of some later, put it on there. We do have I guess we're kind of trying to make this easy because this is the first time we're using this equipment, and we're very thankful to Ann's brother Michael, who is running the equipment tonight. He learned how to run it about
20 minutes ago?
20 minutes ago. It's a very simple setup. He's doing great. He's done this kind of stuff before.
So it's a family affair here. And so while he's running that, his wife and his 3 kids are upstairs. So worst case scenario, if you hear the pitter-patter of little feet echoing or a 1-year-old scream, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," it just shows how much this is a family-run show, which I don't know if you can see this, but that's why I really know I just challenged him.
All right.
By changing us. I got the fun of picking out a few things for the studio. And
you probably can't see the top, but it says, "And thank you for a house full of love. Amen."
And I just thought that perfectly suited the fact that this is such a loving thing that we're doing, and that we're getting to incorporate our home into it is really fun. And quick prayer of thank you. Praise that while Michael was setting this up, about 2 minutes before the show started, he just got emailed a job offer. So really excited about that, and he's over there waiting to find out more details about it. So hopefully his attention isn't split too much during the next hour.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, well, we have an announcement. I have it written for you.
Okay.
I don't know if you had a chance to read it. I do have a typo in it, so hopefully you won't mess that up.
Well, without telling me which part is the typo.
It's going to be the next slide that's going to show up as well.
Okay, so can we go ahead and try to show that slide? All right, so this is talking about the upcoming women's retreat. that will be taking place this summer. And if you've been watching Bring on the Sabbath, we've announced it a couple previous times and shown a whole commercial for it. Are we showing the commercial again this evening?
The
or just the
commercial,
slide?
I think, is maybe inside of one of our commercials tonight.
Okay.
Probably the first commercial, I think.
Okay.
Okay. You can.
Well, and I think the really important information is up here on the slide. It tells when it is, which is the weekend of June 26th through 28th, where it's taking place, which is on Lake Texoma, Texas, which, by the way, I'm excited about going. I've never been. You've never been.
Oh.
But I have to say, calling it Seaside Escape and it being on a lake.
It's a lake, so you have to use your imagination.
Okay, so it's an imaginary seaside.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like if you'll see the video coming up, and she'll be listening to a seashell, and she'll be imagining the ocean. So you might bring some seashells with you when you go to this. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. Yes, sir.
I have a tiny announcement that me and Jeff might be starting a new channel that we're going to discuss movie reviews and a few other things. It's not going to be on Bring on the Sabbath.
Not going to be on the CGI network.
So again, we've done a very dangerous thing and allowed an 8-year-old a taste of being on the internet and being in front of a camera.
See?
So he now wants to rule the world.
No, she suggested it. She suggested it.
Okay. So yes, we're going to try to give him some other opportunities to talk about some other things.
All right, did you finish that announcement?
He will be called.
I think so. I think just visit CGI.org to get all the
right there
fun
on the front
details
page,
about
on the front page.
if people want to hear more of the details. But I think that's all we really need to say about it at this point.
And the only thing I want to announce is that we'll be back next week from Texas. And we'll be doing family there. It'll be Bob and Lisa McComb will be on there with John Reedy, who is also, I guess, family to church family, but it's a family thing. So that's going to be next week. So the goal of doing this from here and doing it from Texas is so that we're hoping to be able to have more weeks, hopefully every week. We can't guarantee you that, but we're going to have a lot more weeks.
But that's the goal, is to be working towards making this a weekly show so that you know what's coming, you can plan on it, and really feel like part of our family by watching it.
Yeah, so we had bots last week, we have bots this week, and then next week, and then the week after. And that's as far as I know. But we will definitely.
So we know that the next 3 weeks are planned.
Are planned.
All right.
They're covered.
Put it on your calendars.
All right. So what we're going to do is let's look at a few comments. Do you have any comments over there you want to look at? I do have from Willow Love Al, who used to attend your church, I believe.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And he says congrats on on your 2-month anniversary. So we've been married for 2 months.
I know at this point. Yeah.
And we built 2 months. You know, who's been married 2 months and built a studio in their basement? I mean,
we assembled furniture together, and I think that is a major relationship test that we have passed.
Yes, I think we passed that test. We put it together, and the furniture is still standing.
Yes.
Doing well. And Jeff still says he's looking forward to bots every week. And so we had quite a few people watching. And you have any comments over there?
I have a lot of people having a side conversation over here.
Have your comments, have your conversations.
Well, just people, looking out for each other and asking each other how they're doing because they weren't feeling well. So, I mean, it's good conversation.
We're all family. We're all family.
Yes.
And we want to keep the family conversation.
It seems odd that they're doing it on here.
No, it's all family.
Yeah, we're all family. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to look at our producer and see if we're ready for our first commercial break, and he'll let me know if we are. He's giving me a thumbs up. So what we're going to do, wait, I have a comment first. The comment says, Rebecca says, I have a granddaughter named Leela Anna that just turned 9. I'm sure she and Connor have much in common. Says, I look forward to seeing his contributions.
So yeah, you've already got fans.
Yeah, you got to get the kids watching. And maybe if we're really bold when we have some kids stay over, we may have more kids with you talking. We'll see how bold we are. We're bold here on Bring on the Sabbath. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're going to be joined by our guest this evening, Mr. Paul McIntyre.
I will be back at the end.
Yes, I know that's due today. Yes, and the cupcakes for the soccer game. I'll do the best I can to get that to you. Yep, I'll do my best. Anything else? You want me to watch your kids this weekend? Okay. And the dog? Sure, let me add that to my list. Okay, sure. Okay, okay. Sure. Yeah. Can you hang on a second? I gotta go.
If you don't have a magic seashell, we invite you to relax with friends and be refreshed by God at Seaside Escape. Wish you could have a day at the beach? Time with girlfriends for laughing and sharing. Time with God reflecting, praying. You can at Seaside Escape. It's a retreat where you'll have time with girlfriends, time with God, time for relaxation and refreshment. Join the women in our church at a sparkling, splashy, beach-themed retreat. Seaside Escape.
Well, welcome back. We are now joined with Paul McIntyre from the local Atlanta congregation of CGI. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. This is neat. It's incredible.
So Paul actually helped us put this room together, and at some point during this conversation, I won't make him immediately go to it. We've got some pictures, I think, that we're going to try to show of us, kind of the before and after of this room. We have, if you can go ahead and put those up, let's go ahead and do that.
Oh boy.
All right. So what do we have? Okay. So on the left of your screen is what this room looked like before. So the wall behind us was a one giant mirror. And we didn't know if this was meant to be, I think we were doing some ballet in here. The kids loved it. It was
sure they did. Yeah.
not exactly the right studio look.
Right.
And the walls were unfinished, and I think we've done a good job in the short amount of time we've been here. So thank you so much for your help.
Oh, it was a pleasure. And we had a lot of fun doing it. We weren't always sure how it was going to go, but we were able to bring it together, and it was really easier than we thought it would be. Jeff had an idea of what he wanted, and we were able to find. We had to make a few shifts, but we were able to find.
Yeah, first we thought about doing like a stone thing back here, and we realized we weren't building Solomon's temple. We really didn't need to make this take like a generation to build.
Yeah, when you talk about the stone thing, Jeff and I were at Lowe's, and we found the stone, and it was little individual pieces, and we looked at each other and we said, no. This is not going to happen.
People would eventually like for us to actually start.
We would
doing
still
the
be
program.
We would still be working on it.
we just start filming the program, and you just slowly get to see
slowly,
how many.
Slowly it builds up, and that's what would have happened. But no, we found these, and they fit the bill perfectly. They're actually 4x8, sheets and cut in 3
Yeah,
pieces.
I can't tell you how many people have already asked me, like, how long did this take for us to put together?
Yeah.
It's 3 sheets that we glued. So what do you think? 10 minutes once you guys measured for you to put this up?
Yeah, 10, maybe 20 minutes. You know, not any more than that.
So
it went up.
So
it
Rome
went up super
wasn't built
fast.
in a day, but
This was built
Yeah.
in half an hour.
I'm back. I did not run to the restroom. We had some people who made a comment. There was like little yellow boxes that were on our faces. So that's one of the things you don't, when you're setting all this up and you're looking at stuff and there's nobody sitting here, you don't know about. So we thank everybody out there who's a part of us working through all these, this almost like a technical rehearsal this evening for our Bring on the Sabbath here. So I think we got that all working now, so it's wonderful.
Well, it's really nice.
Yes.
All the decor and everything
Yeah.
has really come together. You did a great job.
Yes.
Super. And it was very, as far as the main background here, it was very quick. It was less than a half an hour, I believe.
Well, to put that up.
Yeah, to put that up.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's more expensive than what it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it was
It does.
very, very inexpensive, very quick, very, but very nice looking.
It took us longer looking around at Home Depot and Lowe's than it did to put this up.
So speaking of other channels, will you two now be starting a home improvement channel?
Yeah, I guess yeah.
That's
Maybe
next.
like improving your home, but again,
You're Tim. You're 2 times.
yeah, yeah, because that's probably how competent I am with things. But I guess one thing we wanted to also show people, we're doing this from our home. We're sharing about the Sabbath day with everyone out there, and we're sharing God's word, and we're talking. And the thing is, we want more people to do this. We want more people to be inspired to set up something in your house and start, sharing the gospel, sharing things with people. Because it's not that difficult. You just have to.
Yeah, the setup is easy.
You just have to do it. You have to do it.
When in doubt, ask an 8-year-old to join you.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun with Connor helping us out there. He's really good with a hammer.
Oh yeah. And so you are with our CGI Atlanta church here. I think we have a slide where we have the website for that, because there's probably some people out there who are watching in Atlanta who may not go to a church. If you go to a church, go to your church you're going to. That's great. But if you don't have a church and you're looking for a church.
We know of at least 2 good ones.
We know at least 2 good ones. This one we're going to offer you our CGI in Atlanta, and then and other days we'll highlight other churches around the area as well.
Right.
But yeah, come out, and I think we have a slide if you can find it on the. He's smiling no.
We're getting a smile.
There we go. A slide.
And we actually meet in Swanee, Georgia.
So when we say so people who live in the metro Atlanta area, we use the term Atlanta very loosely. So it's actually in Swanee, which is about 25 miles northeast of Atlanta.
Yeah, that's
proper?
about right. Yeah, about 25 miles. Just straight up Interstate 85, and once you get off the Swanee exit, it's about 5 minutes there from the exit.
I think we have that on the screen right now for everyone to see. So
if you
there's
hit
the
the Mall
address
of
and there's the
Georgia,
website address.
if you hit the Mall of Georgia, you went just a smidge too far.
Right, one exit too far.
All right, yeah. So we encourage come out and visit us if you want. We have Stephen Glover, who's actually been on Bring on the Sabbath before and been in Tyler. He comes here regularly, doesn't he? Stephen Glover from Montgomery.
He comes monthly.
And he's great to have him be
so
a part of what we're doing.
that's what you have tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
right,
yes.
Right. Stephen Glover will be here with us tomorrow, and
now I think you guys at least try. I'm putting you on the spot now. Do you try to put the speaker schedule on your website? Is that right?
Yes.
So I want to let people know that, so that obviously if they can't make it here tomorrow but are interested in coming another time, they can know when that you would have guest speakers, when Jeff will be speaking.
Right, and now that Jeff is here on a regular basis,
and I'll be there tomorrow.
That's helping out a lot, to get us a full-time schedule of ministers coming in, and we're getting to see some that we don't see on a regular basis and haven't seen in quite a while, which is really nice.
Yeah, because we got Steve Sandy who came from Detroit.
Yeah, Steve Sandy was here. That was nice.
And we're hoping to get a lot of visitors coming in.
Now, the only problem I have found so far with your church, our church, I say your, like I've been going there more often than anywhere else, is doing potluck every week.
Well,
I am
Yeah,
going to have to figure out some secrets because
you know, CGI is a lot like that. In Tyler, we had potluck every week. When I was up in Detroit, I was like, how often do you have potluck? They're like, every week. And they actually have planning committees and stuff for it up there in Detroit. So we're a very eating and fellowshipping
bunch
church.
of people.
Yeah, we like to
are.
eat. You can tell by looking at us.
I know there's some out there that are like, hey, maybe a few less.
I'm going to have to buy a lot looser dresses for church.
Yeah, I don't partake in the potlucks quite as much as I used to, but yeah, we enjoy
So that's the secret.
We enjoy it.
You got to pace yourself.
Yes, you got to
Okay.
pace yourself.
Yeah,
There's a lot there.
I was told that calories don't count on the Sabbath,
That's right.
but that was a lie. I'll let you know. All right.
In Swanee, that still holds true here in Swanee.
You were telling me something on a personal note that this morning you were doing.
Yes, sir. As many of you know, I lost my wife Anna about 1.5 years ago. We were involved in a head-on collision. The lady who was driving the other car, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a beautiful day, and what happened? She fell asleep. She had a grown daughter and 2 grandchildren in the car with her, and she did come across the yellow lines into our lane, and we didn't have a chance to react very much. And I did lose my wife Anna, and today was the court day for her to be sentenced, and she received a couple of years of probation. Which is, when they asked me what I thought, I said, no, she doesn't need to go to jail. I mean, she fell asleep. It wasn't a crime committed.
Yeah,
it was an accident. So that did happen today, and what was, I believe, possibly, at least with her attorney, that they were, when they were up there speaking, they were saying all the things that was going on with her, and she was having nightmares about the accident, and she'd had a lot of problems herself. She was pretty severely injured as well. So with all that being said, then when it came my turn to speak, I believe that they were thinking maybe we were going to have a different attitude, toward them, which my daughter and I both spoke. My daughter Athena, and we let them know how much we miss Anna. It is a huge void in our life, but at the same time, we also let her know. So I told her I speak for my children, for my grandchildren, that we forgive you, and we understand that these things do happen sometime. We can't always explain why, but we also know that God's will is perfect, and we will see her again, and that's what's the most important. And when Athena got up there, she conveyed that same type of message, and so it's only through God's Spirit working in us. It's our carnal mind tends to go a different way, in many cases, and so I just thank God every day for that, the understanding He's given me, the strength He's given me, the peace of mind, the comfort that He's given me throughout this trial.
Yeah, it's been, say, 1.5 years.
It's been 1.5 years.
And I can tell you right now, Paul's been very strong through all this. I remember right after it happened, visiting you in the hospital, and I mean, there was so much faith, there was so much love in that room, and so much was going. I mean, it was just
yeah, you wouldn't
God's
know.
Spirit
I don't know if you even knew,
was
but
there.
I was there.
Is that right?
That
No,
evening.
I didn't know that. It was a lot of prayer. There was a lot of prayer going on. I do know that. And,
And I know it's not in any way the way you would have wanted to do this, but I'm willing to bet that your and Athena's attitude and the words that you guys said today was a more profound testimony of faith and of forgiveness and of a Christian attitude than probably most situations that you will ever purposefully put yourself in.
I certainly hope it was, and we were at the end. We were all hugging each other, and we told her that we would be all right, and we would get through this. And we wanted her to know that, and for her to
get through
to get through this exactly. And wanted her to have peace,
Because obviously
in her
this
mind
has
and
changed
comfort.
her life and her family's life
Yes, drastically.
forever.
Yes. And I also want to add that when this accident first happened, I believe it was her daughter that came down to my room in the ICU, expressing, you know, their sorrow about the whole situation. I mean, immediately, that she, you know, that she was just down the hall in another room. This grandmother was. So all along, they've been very, you know, remorseful about everything. And so today was it was a good day. It was difficult in a lot of ways, but it was good. And
It's a way to bring it to a conclusion.
Yes, yes. And so I certainly hope that she can move forward from here and on with her life as well as her.
Well, I feel like rude, like looking like I'm checking my phone while you're talking, but in case anyone, you know, wanted to say anything, and people are saying things like, may God give you strength, and some. And
he has.
Some nice
he
comments.
Certainly has in so many ways. It's more than I can even explain.
You know Roger Bright?
Yes.
He says hi. He's on here.
How you doing, Roger?
Yeah. And
it's been a while.
And Willow Laval says he had lost his first wife as well in 2008 to it. And so people definitely can sympathize and they understand.
I received so many phone calls and cards and expressions of love, and it was overwhelming in many ways, but it was very appreciated. I hope
also just how many people Anna touched.
Yes.
To see
it was incredible.
Outpouring.
Yes. I mean, she was so involved, especially with church and church activities, and when it came to the feast and kids' activities, and I mean, she really, as I told them today in the courtroom, she put others before herself, family and friends, and church family and everyone, and that's what she loved doing. She loved serving.
Oh yeah.
And she definitely had that attitude.
Yeah. But we know we'll see her in
That's
the kingdom
right.
of God, and it's
We
going to
do.
be
It's
a
gonna
great
be
day.
wonderful.
It's going to be a great day.
So, and the lady today said, you know, I was talking to her about that. I knew I'd see her, and she said, I want to see her and meet her too. So that was very, very inspiring as well. It was really good.
All right, I think we're going to take a break. So I'm saying this so that Michael can be aware we're going to take a break and get ready for it. But we're going to take a break here in just a moment. We thank everybody out there who's watching, who's participating. Again, this is our first time through this in the studio, and it seems to be pretty good. Pretty good. You know, when I say that now, Ann looks at me like, Jeff, you done jinxed it. You done jinxed it for us.
I say that a lot. He is the guy that will say, at least it's not raining, well, traffic doesn't look too bad today, at least we didn't forget anything at home. He always says that one comment that then 5 minutes later proves to be...
and then like, oh, there's rain. Oh, there's traffic.
There was one thing, if you remember, Jeff, you know, when we were hanging this television on the wall here, we weren't sure we were going to be able to mount it because we were hitting open space back there.
Yeah, the drill was going right into open space.
He set pillows on the floor that night and was like listening for it to fall.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case it fell.
We did get into at least one stud out of the 3 screws. Maybe 2. We're hoping 2, but we did get at least one. And the TV's been there now for a couple
Yeah,
weeks.
we let it hang a little bit before we sat right in front of it.
Yeah, I think it's good and solid.
Yeah,
good and solid, and it's working, which is a blessing.
Yes, it is. That is.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll take a short break, and when we get back from the break, I think we're going to look at a Bible study. I've been doing a Bible study in the Book of John now for 3 years or so. Just throughout as we're going through, bringing the Sabbath, we're going through the Book of John in detail.
Okay.
And so we're going to look at John chapter 13, which I looked at today. So that's where we're at. That's about foot washing. I think it's a very appropriate thing to look at as we're getting closer to Passover and things to think about. And
it'll be here before we know it.
And foot washing is something we should do every day when we look at it. Well, I think we'll bring that out, and definitely I want to get everyone's comments about that out there as well. So we're going to take a break now, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back. We are back. And it's so good to have everybody still out there watching on Facebook, YouTube, the app. And we're not on channel 1 in the app. We're on channel 2 and 3. But on CGI, that Church Online, you probably don't even notice that. If you're in the app, we have a little video telling you to go there. But we're out there. We're broadcasting. I think we may be on all the YouTube, like all 3 of our YouTube channels, broadcasting as well because of how we got it set up. So
Let me know when we make Netflix.
when we make Netflix, we're in the big time, baby. We're in the big time. But right now, yeah, we thank everybody for watching this. We wanted to look at John chapter 13 as part of, I guess, continuing the Bible study. And I've been looking at the book of John for, like the past few years and studying. And in the book of John, there's all these miracles, the 7 miracles that happen in John that are proof, they show that Christ is the Son of God, that he is the Messiah, those 7 different signs. But John, the book of John is different than a lot the other Gospels in that John has a different purpose in how he portrays the Gospels, like where Luke may have been more historical and Matthew gets some of these details and Mark gets some other details. John works a lot on giving specific points he wants to make, and he wanted to make the point that Christ is the Messiah, and so he gives those 7 specific miracles, even though we know Christ did hundreds and hundreds of miracles as well. So we're looking at in the book of John, and this is at John chapter 13 is where we'll be at tonight, and we're going to be looking at the Lord's Supper. The Lord's Supper, and that's what Ann is. I had a conversation with Ann about this. Ann refers to it as Lord's Supper. And
I asked him to stop using the word Passover when we were talking about our calendar appointments, because some churches use it for one night, some use it for another, and he seemed to be using it interchangeably. Okay. So I said, when we're trying to figure out where we're going to be and who we're going to be with, can we say Lord's Supper and night to be much observed?
Yeah, and again, so in our church, in our church we call it the Lord's Supper. A lot of times we call it the New Testament Passover, but this is actually, as we'll see, and you can see in John, this is actually the day before the Passover is when this happens. And the reason why it had to be the day before the actual Passover is because Christ is going to be the Passover. He is our Passover.
He was not the day after Passover lamb.
Yeah, he was not the day over. he was the Passover lamb, the day after Passover lamb. And so right here we're going to look at where he's kind of instituting a separate service that's from the Passover, which we still keep the Passover as the night to be much observed. We keep it on that night. But when we keep the Lord's Supper and or communion or New Testament Passover, we're keeping what Christ is asking them to do right in this passage right here. What he's asking to do. So we'll look at John chapter 13, and we have the scripture up there. So John 13 verse 1, it says, "Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come, that he should depart from this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end." So again, Passover was the next day. The timing of this day corresponds, actually when of the next day, we're talking about the next day, corresponds to when the Israel left Egypt and the death angel passed over to Israelites' homes. So if you look at the night that he's observing, which begins on the 14th, then the next day would be corresponding back in history when Israel had sacrificed their Passover, and then they were going to put the blood on the doorpost, and then the death angel would pass over them, and they would leave out that next day, which would be for us the first day of unleavened bread in timing. But he's doing this on the 14th. All right, so just put it into perspective. So again, so the reason why is that when Christ is sacrificed the next day, he's actually sacrificed on the the very exact time when they were, sacrificing all the lambs in the temple. They were bringing lambs in, and so when they would do that, that's when Christ was sacrificed. So he was at the exact time of the Passover. All right, so we're going to look back in chapter 2.
Verse 2.
Chapter 2. Whoa, we're going way back. Okay, verse 2. That's why I have a wife to correct me. And then supper being ended, the devil having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. And Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hand, and that he had come from God and was going to God, rose from supper and laid aside his garments, took a towel and girded himself. And after that he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with a towel which he was girded. So this is, washing feet. And I guess feet are like really, the nastiest parts of our body if you think about it.
Well, especially if you walk everywhere you're going in sandals that you have probably been wearing every day for the last couple of years.
Yeah, so if you're wearing some used sandals.
They probably don't have as many mani-pedi places back then.
And they don't take baths as often.
No.
So they don't take baths often. So this was usually reserved for like the servant, right? A servant would come clean the feet and wash the feet. And I'm sure probably with some calluses and boils and all kind of nastiness in the feet. And imagine these were probably not, because again, like we have and we do, and what's being done here, we do as part of our Lord's Supper service, our Passover service, that we clean each other's feet, and usually they're pretty good. They're not that bad. There might be a little bit of lint in there and stuff in there, wipe it out or whatever. But it's not like he was going to
nothing caked on.
Yeah, nothing caked on. Right here, we're talking caked on, dirty, nasty feet. All right, that he's going to clean. He's going to be their servant. So you got to get that in your mind. It's not our modern feet. This is the baked on dirt. All right. So verse 6. Then he came to Simon Peter, and Peter said to him, Lord, are you washing my feet? And Jesus answered and said to him, what I am doing, you do not understand now, but you will know after this. And Peter said to him, you shall never wash my feet. Now, I don't, maybe because that was a thing that servants did, is a lowly thing. He's like, you can't wash my feet, because he knows that Christ is his Lord. He knows that Christ is the Messiah. And he's like, I'm not.
That was absolutely his attitude. He said, no, you're not going to wash my feet.
Yeah.
No way.
And that's probably what my attitude would be. It's like, no, Jesus, I'll wash your feet, because you're my Savior, you're my Lord. And Jesus answered and said, if I do not wash you, you have no part with me. So he said he's like insisting. He's insisting to be washed. So it's and Simon Peter said to him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. So
he was ready for him to wash.
So maybe now he's making a joke out of it, perhaps.
Well,
Perhaps.
I think.
What do you think?
Well, I think it also just goes to show, just even people who are trying very hard. This is a lot of what you see in religion today. We don't want to do it the way God said. We either, well, surely he didn't mean it that way, and we don't need to do that.
Yeah.
But then if someone shows us, no, you need to do these things, well, then let's do everything, and let's do it 3 times over, and let's make the Day of Atonement 2 days just to be sure. And no, just do what he asks.
Hold on with the Day of Atonement 2 days. That's slow.
Yeah. I got a comment here from Jeff Steele, who's one of our regular watchers. He says, foot washing is the ultimate display of humility and servitude, and we need this as a reminder often as to how we should be all year long. Right? We want a reminder. Will Avow say the Asians take off their shoes when they enter the home, which and hopefully people do that in our home. They'll have to, but it's a good thing to do. It's also a mini baptism, in a sense. It's kind of like a mini baptism.
And I've heard that a lot, that when you get baptized, it's to take away all of those old sins. But then we are still walking around in the world. We do pick up a little bit of dirt again. We aren't, hopefully, none of us, by the time we reach the next Lord's Supper, are as bad off and as dirty as we were before our baptism.
Yeah.
But we all need that little bit of new dirt washed back off.
That thin layer of dust.
That thin layer of dust.
It's going to continue to build
That-
on us
that
as
is-
long as we're in the
Yeah, as long as
flesh.
you are walking in this world, you're going
That's
to
right.
get dirt on your feet.
That's right.
All right, and in verse 10, and Jesus said to him, right, he said, he who is bathed needs only be washed his feet. So maybe that indicates that Peter had took a bath recently, which is good. But is completely clean, and you are clean, but not all of you. For verse 11, for he knew who would betray him. Therefore he said, you are not all clean. So verse 12, so when he had washed their feet, taken his garments, and sat down again, he said to him, do you know what I have done to you? Verse 13 says, you call me teacher and Lord, and you say, well, so for I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. And that's what we do when we do the service. We wash each other's feet. But I think there's probably a greater meaning to washing others' feet that we can talk about after we read these last three verses here.
All right.
All right. It says, for I've given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Most assuredly I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is he who sent him greater than who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. All right, so I guess one thing that we can get from this is that God washes feet, right? God washes feet, and as you said, maybe when we do this every year, it's kind of like a mini baptism. But I think God kind of washes our feet like all the time, because we have to repent and we have God's Holy Spirit, which is baptism symbolizes we're receiving the Holy Spirit, hands are laid upon.
Yes.
And so He kind of washes us a lot. He does a lot for us. Think of all the things. What are the things that Christ has done for us?
We need that washing continually in our lives, and that cleansing, because as it's so easy when we go out in this world and all the things that we're subject to, and I speak about this a lot. The things that we see and the things that we hear, the attitudes that are around us, and then of course all the lifestyles that are not God's ways that's going on. There's so much of that today, and if we're not constantly getting cleaned and washed, it's going to build up on us.
Yeah.
And we're going to gradually get numb to those kind of things, and maybe even hopefully not embrace them, but not really have an issue with them. As we should. We have to resist them. We have to put them away from us. We have to come out of the world.
And I think it's so important that we do that right before we take the bread and the wine. That again, it's as a mini baptism, as a cleaning yourself up, as getting that layer of dirt off of you, it puts you in the right place mentally, spiritually, to then receive the bread and the wine.
Absolutely, it's an all year long process of getting the leaven out of our system, and keeping it out, and not letting that dirt, dust build up on us. And we want to be the brightest light we can, an example to others. And we pray that God will help us to continually grow and do that. It's not and being humble. That goes a lot here with washing others' feet. That humility, we need that in everything we do. To be humble and be meek. When people are sick, we want to try to be there with them and put ourselves kind of there in the place with them and do everything we can to help them and encourage them. And I know that a lot of people, they say that's kind of where I fall short a lot of times, when I'm thinking about others. And it does take some extra effort and extra thought to do that. But when we're seeking after it, it becomes easier. And when we're asking God to help us and strengthen us and give us the understanding we need, to come out of these things that we see right now with our eyes and keep our eyes on His kingdom and what's coming, not what is right now. I know in my case that's sometimes what we get tripped up by what's going on right here in the present.
And I think when he gives us the example that we should wash one another's feet, I think that's more than just what we're doing that one time a year. We do that as symbolic part of washing each other's feet. It's symbolic, but it's symbolic of what we should be doing all year round.
It's like another aspect of, we talk about the iron sharpening iron.
Mm-hmm.
The iron sharpening iron is that helping each other to learn and grow that way.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the flip side, washing each other's feet to help them get through and clean themselves up from whatever they're having to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, like here's an example where I think of washing each other's feet. Like, say for instance, like Paul, or me, right? Or like, 'cause Paul's probably washed my feet more times than I've washed his. And that's, I could say, hey Paul, I call you up. I got a flat tire, or I have this problem on the side of the road. I'm probably like 30 miles away. I call him up, and you probably like, hopefully come out and help me,
I'll
right?
be on the way.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that for people, right? So people call me up and say, hey, our car's broke down. Can you come help? In the middle of the night, I was like, sure, because that's washing others' feet. The service that we do for others. So that's part of kind of like what we teach in the Church of God International and the Church of God in general. Like, we teach servant leadership, that we're servants to others. And I think about foot washing is, if we're humble enough to wash someone's feet, dirty feet, we're humble enough to go help them when they have need. If they have like, or a time of trouble, even if it's making food for people, if it's
calling and checking on them.
Yes.
Calling and checking.
Those are ways we can wash each other's feet.
When we think about it, we're really all of us are always in need of each other, so each other's encouragement and help. Brothers and sisters helping each other and washing each other's feet throughout, every day throughout the year. I mean, we need help in one way or another, because we need someone to help us see when we're slipping off track a little bit, because it sneaks up on us so easily. And
I have this condition where whenever people say things, a song starts playing in my head that goes along with it. I have my own theme music about 90% of the time. So the We All Need Somebody to Lean On is now playing, especially since we were at your house.
Right.
We had to get together at Paul's house, and it involved some karaoke, and just a little. But it was what I remember most is that when it was time for everybody to go home, I think it was about 15, 20 people literally standing and singing that song.
Lean on me.
And like swaying and having fun. It was just this like wholesome fun of just, really feeling that way about all the people that were around you. And it was a really good thing.
Yeah, so that's foot washing. That's serving others, being there for others. So again, if anybody has examples of ways, to wash others' feet, let us know, or things that you can think of. How can we better wash others' feet? And a lot of times when we have visitors come to our church, we want to be foot washers for them, because they may have dirty feet, or they may need our in speaking, they may need our help with things, and so we're there to help serve them and do things and teach
each
things.
other is another way of washing,
and teach things.
feet.
Yeah.
So is this. So
Cleansing.
hopefully, what we're doing tonight and what we hope to continue to do every time we do this program, it may not do it for every single person every time, but it definitely is a sincere hope of ours that somebody's feet got washed. As a result of doing this.
Yeah, and
somebody goes into the Sabbath feeling more connected to God's people, knowing that someone out there cares about them, and that people are out there doing this with them.
Yeah, so and Willow, he says that Publix has a concept that they're training servant leaders. I guess the corporation. Again, I've worked for corporations to do that, and what I found is that the corporations that embrace servant leadership, where like if I'm a manager, I'm working for the employees, I'm serving them so they can serve the customers. Businesses that embrace that biblical concept, their profits go crazy. They make tons of money. Now businesses that don't, and there's plenty of those who don't embrace servant leadership, they have this leaders who bark orders or don't understand what's going on at the level. Those are the ones that go out of business, and you can see that servant leadership. It works in life, it works in family, it works in church, and being servants to others. So, do you have any more comments on the church online?
Someone made a very nice comment about me and said, "Let Ann speak. She's tuned in and speaks for many of us."
Mm-hmm.
So that's much better than, "Why did you get this woman to be on the camera? If you needed to marry her, that's a personal decision, but keep her behind the camera."
Yeah. So this is, I think we're coming to probably about 9 o'clock our time, which will be 8 o'clock Central, because I can remember people are watching all over they're watching all over the country and world. And so we thank everybody who's been watching us tonight. And again, we just wanted to do a little Bible study. We'll look at more of John 13 as Christ is preparing to be the Passover, and we'll get into. We may even go back and look at the history of like some of the timing that of how all this corresponds with what happened in Israel and with what Christ is doing, because there's all these symbols that are so meaningful of what is done, and John really gets. John has a lot, and he's in that all those chapters that he talks about in 13 or 17, 18, where he's like having the conversation with them at the Passover meal, at the Lord's Supper there. So it's the good stuff that we will have in the future as we look as we do more things, and we'll have some good guests hopefully lined up soon.
Forward to that.
Please continue to send in suggestions of things that you would like to hear us talk about, things that you'd love to hear Connor talk about, because this is for you guys. Again, if we're washing your feet incorrectly, please let me know.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go to our last break, and when we come back, we'll say our final goodbyes to everyone.
Hi, we'd like to offer you 2 booklets on today's program. We want to offer you, Is Jesus Really God? There's a lot of controversy about who and what Jesus was. We also want to offer you, What is God? Of all the theological questions that evoke controversy in the ancient church, the question of who and what God was one of the major questions. It's even a major question today. You can order by visiting our website, www.cgi.org. That's www.cgi.org.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We're so happy to have you come into our home, I guess, into our bunker, 400 feet underneath Atlanta, or maybe as Connor, 12 feet. 12 feet under Atlanta. And we thank you for joining us this evening. May you have a wonderful Sabbath. May God bless your Sabbath. And we will see you again in a couple of weeks, but we'll still be on next week from Tyler. So goodbye.
Good night.
See you later.
Have a great Sabbath.